wonderful guys in the leadership line. Yeah, okay, it's being recorded. Especially our Iyad Saadi, mashallah, he put a lot of effort to get this started and to have us meet together. So thank you, Iyad, and thank you everybody else who contributed behind the scenes. And Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Today is going to be a big topic, two very big words. Yeah, and I know you know them, which are creativity and entrepreneurship. Very big words. I hope I can do justice to these two big words, inshallah. And also I hope that you can find this useful and enjoyable. Right. Let me start my sharing my PowerPoint presentation, if you don't mind. Here we go. Let me just see where I can share. Yeah, it's just share screen here. And here it is. All right. You can see my PowerPoint presentation, right? Oops. All right. I don't want to spoil the whole thing. Okay. Okay, before I start, let me show you this picture. All right, let me just check, make sure that, yes, okay. Here we are. Now, this is a creative dad. Do you agree? What do you think? Is he really creative? Huh? Right. The question is, where's the mom? Well, Abdullah is saying absolutely is creative. Abdullah, we're going to see whether he is or not, inshallah. When we go through the criteria and requirements for you to be creative. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go back to this, yeah, later. But let me show you somebody who is really creative, and he is a role model for me, especially, that he is from my hometown. I'm from Algeria. This guy is also from Algeria. But as you can see, he's with President Bush. And actually, this man, he was also an engineer, biomedical engineer, actually. This man can only be appointed by president. And he was appointed by President Bush and then by Obama. And he was the top man in the United States in the health sciences. He's very creative, and also he is an amazing entrepreneur. I hope if you can find, him on, and watch him talk and give presentations, you will know him more, actually. And one of the key words that made him get to the top is a little question: why not? Okay. Back home, this guy had some crazy ideas. He wanted to join two different disciplines, something from the space to medicine to physics. He was a crazy man. Back home, when he said this to them, they told him, come on, هدئ نفسك. Yeah. What are you trying to do? This is impossible. And the question was, why? Why would you do this? Just calm down. When he went to the States, when he told them what ideas he had, they told him, why not? And this why not actually got him to the top. At a very young age, he became the top man in the States, and he was the head of the International Institutes of Health in the States for many years. If you can watch him, please do. And let me give you one little thing that shows that he's creative. And actually, this is one of the indications that somebody is creative. If you listen to him giving presentations, you would see that this guy is has a lot of depth in what he talks about. He knows what he's talking about, and he does something extra, as you can see here. He uses humor even in his speech, and actually, the ability to use humor to create jokes and relevant humor is something very creative. So here is a child asking her parents, Mom, Dad, where do we come from? She went first to her mom and she asked, Mom, where do we come from? Her mom said, well, honey, we come from God. We come from Adam and Eve. And then, they had children and on until we came. Then she went to her dad and she asked the same question. Where do we come from? And her dad said, well, a million years ago, there were monkeys and apes and they developed and they evolved and slowly until, until we came. So our ancestors and our grandparents are apes and monkeys. So she went to her mum and she said, Mom, I'm confused. What is this? Is this God and Adam and Eve, or was it the apes and the monkeys? And her mum said, honey, your dad is talking about his family, right? And Dr. Zarhuni, when he brought this joke, he had something, he was talking to all, high, what do you call it, high caliber people in the health sciences, in politics, and you can watch this presentation. It's really interesting. It's called Breakfast with Dr. Zarhuni. So please do if you can. Right. So this is a little thing about a creative person is somebody who can communicate very well, and he can be creative in many instances, such as injecting jokes and humor in his talks. Right. This is not Zarhuni, this is me, Abdulaziz Tifuti. I've, over so many years working here, working in England, in London, in different places, I managed to do few little things. And I spent the day-to-day trying to remember some of the things I did. And I felt, well, I did something. And you can see this is the list of few little things that I contributed. The ones in red, I think, looks like it's red, are creative things, which I think they are creative. And the ones in green are not just creative, will take us a little to entrepreneurship. So that's why I'm trying to take you from creativity to entrepreneurship and share with you a journey, not a journey of somebody like Dr. Zarhuni, but, at least a contribution. And I do this for a purpose, to show you guys that you too can contribute, and that every one of us here, everybody, whether you like it or not, are creative. And you ask me why? I'll tell you. Because we are all created by the wonderful creator, Allah. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah كرمنا بالعقل وجعلنا خلفاء بالأرض. Why? Just to eat and sleep and waste time? No. to contribute, to be creative, to be useful, and to be productive. So this is a list of things that I did. It may not mean anything to you, but it means a lot to me. And I'm going to leave this list to the end of today's meeting. And you feel free to ask about any of those things. What do you mean by sheriff's shoes? What do you mean by head hood? How is it an entrepreneurial thing? And inshallah, if we have time, we can go through them and I can touch on a few of them. And since we don't have time, we have to move on. Okay. Now, creativity. Let's start with creativity first before we move to entrepreneurship. What is creativity? Okay, what do you get when you hear the word creative thinking or creativity? What comes to mind? Well, for me, let me give you my definition of creativity, and then I'll go through a wonderful example, from which we can review actually the concept of creativity. Well, for me, creativity is the ability to find a new relationship between two things that are usually unrelated. Let me mute my mobile because it's giving me. All right, here we go. Right, so we're looking for that relationship, new relationship between two things that are usually unrelated. And you are the first to find that relationship. But that relationship must have certain requirements to be creative. Before I get to these requirements, let's watch a wonderful video, very short, about somebody who created something, and that something has become a trend today, and everybody is using his creative way of doing things. Sorry. Let me see if I can share the video with you. Oops. No, please don't spoil my presentation. Let me just. Okay, just a minute. Okay, I stopped sharing my. Yeah. Okay, let me just go through your comments and think it out of the box. Basically saying we'll talk about thinking out of the box. Yes. All right. But then try to remember the definition I've just given, right? Okay, let's try to find our video. Something new out of the ordinary. Yes. I like the word new, but there are other things as well. Not just new is not enough. Okay. Okay. Let's watch the video. Okay, give me a few seconds to run it and share it with you. And then, okay, let me find the video. Right. So here's the video. Let's watch it, and then we continue our discussion.
In the early 1960s, Dick Fosbury tried his hand at almost every sport, but never excelled at anything until, at the age of 16, he turned to the high jump. But when he couldn't compete against the strong athletes at his college using the standard high jump techniques of the time, Fosbury tried to jump a different way, backwards. Instead of jumping with his face towards the bar, bringing each leg over in the traditional straddle method, he jumped with his back towards the bar. Fosbury improved his record by over half a foot and left his coaches amazed by this strange new style of high jumping. During the next few years, Fosbury perfected his high jump style, won the U.S. national trials, and assured his place in the 1968 Olympics in Mexico. In the Olympic Games, Fosbury amazed the world with his new technique, winning a gold medal with an Olympic record leap of 2.24 meters. By the next Olympic Games, almost all the competing high jumpers had adopted what came to be known as the Fosbury flop. What's the secret behind the technique? It lies in a physics concept called the center of mass. For every object, we can locate the average position of all of its mass by taking into account how the mass is spread around the object. For instance, the center of mass of a flat rectangular object of uniform density will be in the intersection of both diagonals, in equal distance from each corner. We can find the center of mass for other objects by similar calculations, or by finding the object's balancing point, which lies right underneath its center of mass. Try balancing a broom by holding it and slowly bringing your hands together until they meet. This balancing point lies right underneath the broom's center of mass. We humans also have a center of mass. When most people stand up, their center of mass is around the belly. But what happens to your center of mass when you lift your hands in the air? Your center of mass moves upwards. It moves all the time as you move through the day, based on how your body is positioned. It can even move outside of your body. When you bend forward, your center of mass is located below your bent belly, in a place where there is no mass at all. Weird to think about, but that's the average position of all your mass. Many objects' center of mass are outside their bodies. Think of donuts or boomerangs. Now look at the Fosbury flop and follow the position of the center of mass of the jumper. The jumper runs very fast, so he can divert his horizontal velocity to vertical velocity, and jumps. Wait for it. There. Look at the jumper's center of mass as his body bends backward. It's below the bar. That is the secret behind the jump. With the old pre-Fosbury techniques, the jumper had to apply enough force to lift his center of mass above the bar by a few inches in order to clear it. The Fosbury flopper doesn't have to do that. The genius of the Fosbury flop is that the jumper can apply the same amount of force but raise his body much higher than before. That means he can raise the bar so high that even when his center of mass can't go any higher, his arcing body can. Fosbury's technique brought the high jump to new heights by splitting the jumper's body away from his center of mass, giving it that much more room to clear higher and higher bars. So the Fosbury flop may be sports history's only great leap forward that is also a great leap backward.
Right. Dick Fosbury, an American, and I think he died perhaps 2 months ago. He was also an engineer like you guys. Most of you are engineers, all right? He was an engineer, but he was also into another thing, sports. He was a high jumper. And this probably gives you an idea how people can be creative. You can be creative by being versed in different experiences. Okay? He was, an expert in engineering, and he was passionate as an athlete, in high jump. And because he was always struggling, with the two, trying to succeed in both. And he tried, especially in the high jump, to raise the bar, but he couldn't. So he was using his engineering know-how and knowledge and so on to try to find a solution. So we can see that creativity doesn't come like that, like an inspiration. Okay, sorry. It's something that comes after hard work. It's something that comes after a lot of thinking, a lot of research, a lot of, so it's tough business, gentlemen. It's not an easy thing. It's only when you're in that situation, then the inspiration comes, right? And it doesn't come as quickly as we think. So a creative person needs a wide knowledge base, a diversity of experiences, right? Needs a few things that we are going to mention. Okay, let me go back to my presentation and share it with you again. All right, here we go. All right, so this is an example of a creative engineer. And what is so important is that the new thing that he brought is being used by all athletes today. Okay, as you've seen in the video, and actually the video is very self-explanatory. Now, to be creative, you need 3 letters: Jim, Wajim, Wajim. Actually, I got 3 letters from a training course I attended a few months ago with Saeed Al-Ghamdi. He's also from our faculty, from the engineering faculty, a wonderful guy, Professor Saeed. And I learned this from him. He said you need 3 genes. Of course, we know the first one. You all mentioned it, which is what? What is the first gene? Hello? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Jadid. Yes, that's the first one is Jadid. Very good. What's the second one? Jawda. Yes, very close, but not exactly. All right. Very good. No, she said Jayyid. Oh, brilliant. That's correct. Jadhab. What's this? Jari. Okay, Jari is one of the traits, characteristics of a creative person, but not among the 3 genes. So that we have Jayyid, we have Jadid. Okay. And we have the third one, Jad. Okay. All right. All right. What's Abdulaziz saying? All right. Be careful how you're writing, gentlemen. I need to make sure that Jad. Okay. So we have Jadid, the first one. Of course, we all agree. New. هذا الحرف الأول أن يكون جديدا، والحرف الثاني أن يكون جيدا، وأريدكم أن تشرحوا لي ما معنى كلمة جيد في هذا المجال. ماذا نعني بكلمة جيد؟ والكلمة الأخيرة، الجيم الأخيرة هي ذو جدوى. ذو جدوى. It means it must be something useful, beneficial, and valuable. It has value. It has an added value. So these are the letters. جيد. Sorry, الأولى جديد، جيد، ذو جدوى. Right? You got it? Now ask yourself, how many things have you contributed that have this three الجيمات الثلاث? Ask yourself, write them down. Everybody, don't underestimate yourself, gentlemen. All of us have done this. All right? All of us have brought something new, جيد. Something, جديد. Something جيد and something useful. Okay, I think Doda is saying that she. Okay. I hope you're hearing me, gentlemen. Please don't lose me, because it's going to be so bad. Am I being heard? Please, let me know. In English, am I being heard? Yes, thank you, Anas. What a relief. Thank you. Thank you all. Lena and or Juan and all everybody. Thank you so much. So now my question to you, what does جيد mean? And actually in the training course, I was confused myself and I had to ask Professor Saeed, please tell me what جيد mean? Well, if it has جدوى and it's جديد, then it's جيد. So why جيد? Well, how is it different? You say good. Okay, good. What does good mean? Yeah, Isra. Good. Be careful, gentlemen. We have to be careful when we use words. We have to know exactly what each word means. Well, useful, we said it in the third jim. Yeah, Isra. Useful, that's ذو جدوى. That's useful. That's the third one. We're looking at the middle one. جيد. What جيد mean? ماذا نعني بكلمة جيد? Above the normal. Not exactly, Isra. Sorry, who said this? Lena, sorry. He said it can be used. Yes, very close, very clever, mashallah. All right, but I wanted to get closer. The ability to do things in a perfect way. Yes, and no. Who's this? Muhammad. No. Ability, I think I missed them. That's Mahdi. Yeah, sorry, Mahdi. That's not the thing. It's good in the way that solves a problem. Interesting. Mashallah, you guys are very clever. You're contributing something which I never thought of, actually. Okay, to move on, gentlemen, because there's a lot to discuss today. جيد, as Professor Saeed explained to me, جزاه الله خيرا, جزاك الله خير, Professor Saeed. I hope, my message reaches you. He said, yeah, Abdul Aziz, جيد, it means it's something that needs to be acceptable, ethical, and something that is not harmful to people. That's جيد. Yeah, because if you get something people, all right, or something that is negative, yes, it's new and it's useful to you, but it's harming others, then it's not جيد, not good. Then it's not creative. That's, that falls, aside from creativity. It's not creative. You got it? So to be creative, gentlemen, you have to have the three الجيمات. Something new, جديد, something good, ethical, عمل أو منتج أخلاقي مضر نافع, okay, وذو له فائدة لك ولغيرك, وكلما دائرة الفائدة للناس كلما كان منتجك وخدمتك مبدعة, right? And we've seen the example of Dick Fosbury in the high jump. Now all athletes are using his way, right? And we have the example, for example, other examples. Now, what about the green team at the bottom? Do you see another gene, a fourth one? Do you see a fourth one there? The one in green? Yes or no? Hello? Oh, what's happening? Okay, I think, oh, yes. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I need to go down to the, okay, great. Thank you, Faisal. Yeah, brilliant. And Aisha said yes. Okay, who can tell me what is the fourth one doing there? We have three genes. Khalas, we are creative. What do we need the fourth one for? Yeah. جميع ما سبق. Lovely. أنا said جميع ما سبق. Oh, wonderful. I never thought of that, but it's not that actually. Yeah, Jamil. Isra, good. Right. Jim. All right. Juhd. Jamil. Jaza. Jaiz. Yeah, Jaiz. Oh, actually, Jaiz goes with the Jayyid. Jaiz. Actually, when Dick Fosbury actually came with a new way of jumping, the referees were confused. Are they going to accept it or not? Maybe it's not. It doesn't go with the rules and regulations of that sports. So sometimes with something creative, we have to jawab. Okay, no. All right, let me tell you, gentlemen. You can see that the fourth gene is in green, which means we're not under creativity anymore. This gene will take us to entrepreneurship. Yeah. If you move, you need the three genes, the three first, and then you need the fourth one to get into entrepreneurship. All right. So this is why I put it there. All right. So this takes us actually to entrepreneurship. What is? Okay, before we get to entrepreneurship, let's just summarize quickly. What do you need to be creative? You need to be playful. You need to like to play with things, to try things, and so on. You need to have the courage and the daring. Okay? The daring, in Arabic, we say al-jur'ah. We talked about it. So these are all the characteristics of a creative thinker, right? The daring. And we say the daring is even at the mental level, at your thinking. It means you can take your brain and move to difficult situations, unusual spaces, and so on. So you need this daring. Okay, and not everybody does that. Everybody wants just to think about the usual things, the easy things, and thank you very much. As you also knowledge base, you have to have knowledge. And knowledge comes, where does it come from? A lot of reading, a lot of searching, doing research, mixing and sitting with experts, talking to them, learning from them, and many others, really, right? But you need knowledge base to be creative. It's not just something, yes, experience as well. Yes. You love to learn, Shayma, yes, all of this. Experiences. You can see, for example, if you as a student just think that life is only going to university and studying and passing the exams and getting grades, that's only one experience you're doing. Why don't you get in other experiences like sports, like theater, like, lots of things. And actually in our university, there are many clubs, many activities, many, opportunities for you. But the problem is people don't see them, don't look for them. They just go to university, study, and go home. No, this is your life. University life as a student is life. It's in itself. So enjoy it. Make the most out of it, right? I remember one of the things we did, we created, and actually it's in the list, actually. Maybe, I'm not sure whether they're put in the list or not. It's a theater club, but I created this with my students. In our College of Engineering, we didn't have a theater club. And at one time I was approached by, said, because we need to compete with the other faculties. They have theater clubs, and you know, every faculty or all faculties are competing. You know, they're looking for more points to compete with the others, and any contribution, any cultural or extra activities, they get points for that. So we created the club, and we created a play, masrahiyya, with the students. It was a wonderful experience, and we created, right? Everybody in the team, has an idea, etc. And they even brought certain, material from home and things, because we didn't have the budget to buy, things. And the masrahiyya actually is called Huna wa Hunak. I forgot to put in the list. Huna wa Hunak. That was the masrahiyya. And if the students who worked with me to build this theater club and to build masrahiyya, I hope they to hear that and to be proud of doing that. The thing is, when we competed with the other faculties, because they had this, for a few years, they had little budget, okay? And the thing, what they did is they came plays, masrahiyat, jahil, alamiya, right? And all they needed is to train the actors to bring all the costumes and the all that what they needed and so on, and that's what they did. But ours was original. We created it from zero. And this is one thing I want you to remember also is ownership. When you want to be creative, and actually that helps also with entrepreneurship later, is try to own the thing that you create. And we did that. Okay, let's move on quickly. You have to be curious and open. All right? You want to know. Fuduli, you ask questions, right? And but real questions, yeah, questions that make you get somewhere, You have to have ideation. What is ideation? It means you're fluent, you have a lot of ideas. And they say a creative person is a person who comes with a lot of ideas. And someone who is not creative, what does he come with? He comes with a lot of excuses, justifications, and so on. Right? So that's the difference between a creative person. Innovative, he likes to come up with new things. And also, very important, the way they look at problems. And please, I want you to remember this. Problem solving. Okay, and actually, this is one of the things also I learned from the training course with Professor Said. Okay, the way we look at problems is not probably the right way. To solve a problem, gentlemen, you need not to look at the problem, stay at the problem. You have to look at after the problem. My problem is not the problem, but my problem is how to get around it and get there after the problem, to that situation. That's the thinking that you should have if you want to be creative. And if you want to be a creative problem solver, is not to stay at the level of the problem, think behind or after the problem, how you get there, how you pass the problem, how can I get there? This will help you actually find easy solutions and so on. And also some people, they look at problems as opportunities. So try to be positive. A problem is not a problem. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to come up with something new, something creative, something useful. Also, a creative thinker is also a critical thinker, all right? And for me, critical thinking, I like to see it mainly as positive thinking, looking at it from the other angle, which is more positive, right? And that gives you, what you call it, a positive mood and a healthy way of looking at life and so on. So these are some of the traits or the characteristics or the features of a creator. There might be others, of course, but at least these are some of the most important ones. Okay. All right. So let me just go down and see Sometimes yeah. Okay, very good. So I can see some of the comments here. All right. Let's move on, gentlemen. Okay. Now, okay, before I look at this one, let me look at the other one. And you can see at the bottom the fourth gene. Right? We still haven't answered what is the gene that helps us get into entrepreneurship. We have. It's good, gentlemen. This is, look, at the level of creativity, you can create what we call acronyms. Yeah, and this is also could be an acronym. You have the first letters of of each word or of each phrase or whatever that helps you remember. That's called an acronym, and that's also part of creativity. How do you know a person is creative? Is somebody who can come with acronyms. Also, somebody who can come, I'll show you later, with analogies. Yeah, means he can compare between two things that are usually unrelated. You bring the desk and you bring the lamp, and somehow you come up with something new, useful, and acceptable. Then you are creative. Now, what this gene now? You should be able to figure out now before we move on. What is the fourth gene that help you be an entrepreneur? Any suggestions, please? Mm. Is everything okay in terms of oh, okay, good. Since you're on Jed. All right, good, Jed. Yes. Interesting. Listen, gentlemen, when it comes to creativity and all of that, everything is possible. This is what we call ideation, right? Any crazy idea, any what maybe you call it stupid. There's nothing stupid, right? Okay. Anything that comes to let your mind actually be what do you call it? Be fluent, be rich in ideas. I can't find the word actually, but yeah, so that's the thing. Jamia, where Jauhari. Actually, gentlemen, for me, the fourth G. This is actually my contribution. Thank you very much, Professor Saeed. But I'm. You stopped at the level of creativity. I'm moving to entrepreneurship, so I need to add something. And we said to have the daring, gentlemen. This daring, this is the courage to be able to add something and to trust your ideas. For me, fourth gene is al-jahiziyya. It means take regimes and you are jahiz to take them with you into real life, to create a new business, a new project, and so on, right? You initiate. And that's why I write it like G-initiator. So that I don't forget the first G, I said G-initiator. Yeah. Actually, creative people are also people who can coin new words. Yeah. What's link, please? Saying link. What is the link? I don't know. Anyhow. So let's go back to the previous slide. So what is entrepreneurship? Essentially, it is the process of what? Developing, organizing, and running a business. This is essentially. It means this is at the heart of entrepreneurship, but it doesn't mean only this. There are other things which we'll see. But if you can develop, what do you mean develop? It means you can start. You can initiate something. Then organize. Organize means put things together. Bring all the resources. Bring people. Yeah? And then run it. And then launch it after you've actually followed all the rules and regulations, all the requirements and so on, then you run it, and managing the whole thing. Actually, I want to talk to you about something, but maybe the time doesn't allow. I wanted to discuss with you the difference between, idara, as somebody said, idara, yes, right? Is that management? Idara, yeah, it's management, right? Now, who can tell me the difference between a manager and a leader? Yeah. This is a very important thing, gentlemen, to know the difference between a manager and a leader. Okay, and actually, we had when I did my doctoral course with the University of Exeter, we had a module called leadership and management. That's how I learned the difference between a manager. Managers say me, the leaders say we. Okay, good. Yes, very good. Yeah, think about it, gentlemen. It's important to see the difference between a leader and a manager because this is important for you, right? Very important. A leader person who leads his workers. اوكي يا فيصل، يقال باللغه العربيه فسر الماء بالماء بعد جهد وعناء. A leader is a person who leads. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. A leader is more responsible. Maybe even the manager is responsible. And also there's a word called accountable as accountability. I wanted to leader moves with his team, right? Very good. Leader moves with his team. That's Abdul Ilah and Rakan. All right. Workplace. What? Okay. All right. Leader manages the managers. Leader manages. Okay, good. Yes, he manages. It depends what you mean by manage. The leader works with team to solve the problem. Okay. Let me tell you what I think the difference between a leader and a manager, and please forgive me if I get it wrong, but I have the courage to say what I have in my mind, what I know, right? Al-Qa'id Mulhim, yes, of course. Yeah, Wishdan, yes. Qa'id Mulhim, very good. A leader brings ideas. Yes. Okay, the first thing for a leader to be a leader is vision. Vision. Yeah, not with the glasses, with the brain. Also, you need the glasses as well, and your eyes, but vision. He needs basira. He can see things. He can see where to go. Yeah, he has vision. That's the first thing. Right, to be a leader, you need vision. To be a leader, you need influence, right? Impact, thank you, Isra. Or influence on the team, very good. It means he can easily persuade people, convince people to follow him. It means he can get followers quickly, right? That's a leader. A third one, and perhaps there are others, but let's look at the main ones. The fourth one is communication. What do you mean by communication? A leader can get vision to you and his message to you very quickly, very clearly in few words. And who can tell me who is the best communicator ever? Who is the best communicator? Who is the best leader? Who is the one who has Al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Of course. He is our leader. And we need to do studies after studies after studies about his leadership style. He is a leader. He has vision. His vision, I cannot see it. He has the vision, for this life or for the afterlife, if you like. I don't know. His vision is so huge, so vast. Now, influence. Look at the people around him. How much does he need to convince? He's patient, of course. Patience. Yes. Salama, Mahmoud. Yes, thank you. He's patient. A leader must be patient, but that's also a part of a critical thinker. A critical thinker needs patience before he jumps into decisions. You have to give yourself time, you analyze, you think, you look here and there from different angles before you make a decision. That's more of a critical thinker. And also followers. Who has more followers than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Tell me. To see on the internet how many followers. Okay, so these are the three things a leader needs. A manager is on the implementation side. He acts upon the leader's vision. Gets the leader's vision done. He has a team and he follows them and he makes sure that everything is done. But it's the leader who tells them where to go and who convinces them and who gives them the message clearly and nicely. But this doesn't mean that a leader is not a manager. You could be both at the same time. Now, what do we get from here? And this is very important for you, gentlemen. Leadership is not position-based, which means you don't have to be the dean or the head of the department or the president or whoever the leader. No, that's a position. That's a hierarchy. Which means you, as a student, as a creative thinker, as a researcher, you can lead those people at the higher level, or what we call the higher ups. You can lead them. How? By having the vision, by getting your vision to them. You ask me, how do you do that? There's something called research. When you do a proper research and you come up with recommendations and solid results and you do your homework very well, and then you get it to them, they have no choice but to do it. So you become the leader and they become the managers. They act upon your suggestions, on recommendation. And I had leaders in my class. When I teach, I had a few leaders who were actually leading me as a teacher. They were telling me where to go. Yeah. One of them, maybe you can Google him. His name is now mashallah, he's a wonderful engineer Saud Sayari, right? He was one of my students, and that guy was a true leader from when he was a student. And look at him, look at where he is now, right? We had other people like Saud al-Mhisni, and many students are actually leaders, right? They leave behind them certain things which we as teachers, or maybe even as heads of departments and so on. So what I want you to get from this is you have to have the confidence to get your message through, but do your work, build that solid vision and get it through. So this is an idea about entrepreneurship. You need to be able to initiate, which means to start something, to get people around and the resources to organize, and then to run it. And running means managing and also leading here at the same time. Right. Let's go to the second. So an entrepreneur is the initiator, okay, of a new and valuable activity. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's not just for financial gains. It could be social gains. It could be cultural, right? And you tell you, most entrepreneurs now know that if they want to succeed financially, they have to contribute socially and culturally as well, right? Okay. But of course, to start a business, you will have difficulties, obstacles, challenges. So, you have to expect that. Not an easy ride. You have to. But then look at the other side also. There are rewards and there are gains and there is satisfaction. And let me tell you, there are things I did myself. There are certain things I started, okay? And you cannot believe the pleasure and the happiness to see that thing starting and running, right? It's a wonderful thing. And that shows you are You exist as a person. Yeah, you exist because you contribute to something. Okay. All right. What's the time now? Just check the timing. Oh, not much. But anyhow, let me just go a little bit. Okay. To be an entrepreneur, of course, this is too much for you, but there are certain skills and abilities and competencies that you need to have. This summarizes the whole thing, actually, is done by the European Entrepreneurship competence something. Yeah. Okay, so these are 15 competencies. We cannot go through all of them. There's creativity, vision, ideation, ethical, etc. But let me take two examples for you. Let's take working with others, yeah, and managing resources. And you can see them here. Yeah. What does working with others mean? As an entrepreneur, you have to develop this skill that you can work with others. No project succeeds alone. Yeah, you cannot do it by yourself. You have to have the ability to work with others, which means you have to network with other people, and you need to expand that. You have to team up. What does team up means? To build a team, to join a team, right? And then when you join a team, you have to be able to work together, yeah, to work with that team, and there should be some, understanding and chemistry. You have to be a good listener. You listen actively. You listen, for the purpose of listening, not just, also, there's something called emotional intelligence. You have to understand why people behave the way they do. You have to understand, their situations. All right. Accept diversity. Very important, this one, in a team. And I've learned in my experience that it's better to work with people who are stronger than you. Okay. And don't worry, they will never take your position or your place. Many people make a mistake. They think, oh, that guy is dangerous. I shouldn't have him in my team. I only need to work with people who are, perhaps no, that's a big mistake. It's only the weak people, the not so good ones, that will pull you down and will make the whole thing fail. Another skill or competency you need, which is mobilizing resources. And when we say resources, we mean what? We mean people, we mean, materials, tools, and so on. And you need to know how to manage them, how to use them responsibly, all right? Very important. And you need to make the most out of them, and you get support, You have to learn to ask for support, to get for help from people around you. All right. Now, for you, gentlemen, to develop your entrepreneurship skills, you need training. You need to be trained. Okay? And this training can take the form of course, workshop, a boot camp. You can have coaching, mentoring, and so on. And actually, in every university, and in our university, alhamdulillah, we have a center, right, that does this for you, that gives you training and takes care of you. And it's called Markaz al-Ibda' wa Riyadat al-A'mal. And they have two services for you. They have what we call the Hadina and the Musarri'a, the incubator and the accelerator for your projects. So if you have an idea, a project, and you need help, you should know where to go. And as I mentioned, there are many things in the university, but the problem is we don't see them. And this is part of vision. If you don't see, I'm sorry for you. But to see, you have to search, you have to seek, you have to ask. This thing is existing, and there are many things. We have, mashallah, our club here, the leadership club, and we have the wonderful engineer Iyad Saati and his colleagues working with him and so on. Wonderful. Okay. And a presentation like this, a 1 hour presentation about entrepreneurship, will do nothing, almost nothing, right, to you. Okay, we'll just give you a little idea, maybe an appetizer, if you like, just a little taste of what it is. But then to build that have to get into it, right? And actually, this is what we do in our course, in IE 200, this communication course. Our course, actually, I put it in one of the things I contributed. We created this course. It's not something we brought from outside. It's our own work. We created it from scratch. There was nothing called IE 200 before we came. We created it, and many other things. And the textbook we use, it's ours. We own it, developed it, and now we're working on the 7th edition of the book, which is called Get Into It. It means you learn by getting into things, right? You have to go for it. You cannot just, be, lectured or told about it and so on. So me presenting this to you is far, far from being enough. It's just, like I said, to get you maybe into it. So maybe you can go and visit this center and see what they can do for you. Look for workshops. Work on yourself, gentlemen. Get into training course. As I told you, the training course that Professor Saeed gave, mashallah, on trees, it's about creative problem solving. It was wonderful, very useful, right? So get into these things. Don't waste time. Don't waste the opportunity to learn this. And my suggestion to the Leadership Club and to Iyad and to everybody is that this presentation should be just a beginning into something more practical. Let's have a workshop or workshops on entrepreneur, and let's bring people, and discuss, what projects they got in and real life. And I have a few things also to share with you. And I want to go back to my first list that I started with, this list here, and to see here there are a few things that I agree, which are there's a entrepreneurial project that I got in, right? You may ask me about any of them. Yeah, choose one or two, and I'll tell you what it is. يلا اختاروا واحد من يعني القائمة واسأل، قل لي ما تقصد ب whatever. It's your choice, and I'll let you know. So we'll have more minutes if you allow us, Engineer Iyad, please. Yeah. Hello. Do you still me, gentlemen?
Hi,
Do you hear me?
yes, doctor.
Am I being
You
heard?
can hear me?
All right. Yes. Okay, great. Okay, very good. Yeah, okay, nice. Okay, now ask any question, gentlemen. This is the time for questions, and you can ask about any of the things you can see on the list, or any other question you want me to answer. And I leave it for the Leadership Club to think of organizing a workshop about these things, about creativity and about entrepreneurship, especially, and let people, share ideas, practical things, in addition to what we've given you today. Okay, if I don't have any questions, let me just, why is it not showing? Yeah, all right, just a minute here. I think you're asking questions, but I'm not able to see them. Okay, the little runaway. Somebody asked, actually, the runaway, let me show it to you. It's here. Just a minute, yeah. Well, since I cannot hear you, so there's no need for me to, or maybe let me just in case. This is the little runaway. As you can see it. This is one of the storybooks I published. Okay. And why is it in green? Oh, just a minute. Yes. Oh, hello. Don't do this to me. Yeah, this is one, actually, one of the stories that I published. It's in English and Arabic, and you can see it's called the literal one, Al-Harib al-Saghir. It's in English and Arabic. It's a really beautiful story, okay? And it ends with few questions, comprehension questions for children to do. So this is one of the things I contributed. And it's a series. It's a series. It's not just this one you have here. The riddle is a wonderful story, riddle. It's also Anub and the Rattlesnake. It's here in the list. Anub and the Rattlesnake. It's another story. But this is one of them. It's a series. It's called Hadhud. And you can see Hadhud as green. So Hadhud for me is like a more an entrepreneurial thing because I wanted this to be a business project later. But the Little Latin Way is part of it. It's just a story. Okay? Yeah. Oh, Abdullah Qadi, I gave you a copy. Nice. See, Abdullah has it. MashaAllah. Another thing which I also contributed, you don't have it, Abdullah, this one here. And actually, this is my best product ever in terms as a creative thing, right? This one, this is a textbook that was used here in this university, in this college. The students used to come straight from secondary school to the College of Engineering, because at that time we didn't have the foundation yet. So they used to come and they used to study a number of subjects, including this one, English for Technical Engineering students. It's a wonderful book. It's not because I wrote it, but it's one of the, for me, this is very creative. Yeah. What's the books and YouTube channels that recommended for creative thinking? Right, that's a good question. There are plenty actually. Okay. I'm not sure yet how to answer your question really. Okay. So this is another thing, but let me give the project, the biggest project time, and make dua for me, please, to succeed in it actually. It's called, let me just go down here, see what you, okay, yes. Okay. All right. It's actually, if I can show you, it's something to do with this. Do you see this? It's a lighthouse, actually. And you can see the lighthouse in green. This is my biggest project. This is my, inshallah, this is my dream project. You know. And why is this? Because this is where I want to put everything. All of these things you can see, or most of them, I want to put them in here, in this project. Yeah. Okay. This is actually I tried to do it before. It didn't work. I wanted to start a school. It's called Manara. Tried, but they didn't give me permission to start. Now I'm starting a nursery school or a daycare school for children, and it's also called. I insisted on the name and Manara, and inshallah, in this school there'll be children's stories. There'll be so many things that are in here, you know, inshallah. So this is, thank you very much, Musa and everybody. You have to have a dream, gentlemen. You have to have a passion. You have to have an ambition, but you have to work for it. You have to spend on it, right? And to get it there. Inshallah, I will get it there. بإذن الله. إذا أطال الله في عمرنا. I have people working with me. I have the start, inshallah. In a few months, we're starting the whole thing. I will let you know, inshallah. If we meet, inshallah, we have this workshop. I'll show you exactly what this means, how we started, what we're doing, and many other projects. And also bring other people who are also into this entrepreneurial activities, and we all learn from one another. Barakallahu fikum. Jazakumullahu kullu. And I hope you found this little. I'm sorry if I've a little more of your time. جزاكم الله كل خير وحفظكم الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
يعطيك العافية دكتور، وشكرا للحضور جميعا. صراحة كان لقاء جدا مفيد، ونتمنى أن تسجلوا في رابط التحضير عشان توصل لكم الشهادات عن طريق رابط التحضير، وتسجل النقاط الإضافية. بخصوص الأشخاص اللي من خارج الجامعة مو لازم يكتب أي حاجة في الرقم الجامعي، يعني يتجاهل الرقم. وبإذن الله بنحاول نشارك معاكم سلايدات على رابط النادي، وإذا في أي استفسار برضه ممكن تستفسروا من خلال الواتساب، متاح في أي وقت. يعطيكم العافية.